Yeah.
Hey, hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare... You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic. Us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing. So, on behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal to... Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about rap, but that's all outside. Oh, sure. They make Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-roaders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fall, and thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch here. Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him. Oh, and if you're headed that way, I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's... That's Bertie Holcomb. Only one of the greatest...
I wonder if he's kin. Dad had family that worked for Rizzo's. I never got...
Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. We've been living in a... Oh, you're real funny. Guess I don't feel so bad for missing what goes on. I couldn't really say, I'm just... But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my post... Thanks a bunch! Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the...
Do you want to talk to the boss? He's in the back of the warehouse. Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
We're not the best equipped, but scouting for rafts keeps us on our toes.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate. Huh?
payday. Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. Don't interrupt, it's rude. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn wrapped out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join. Nice change of pace. Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? It is a shithole. It's a free shithole. Besides, the booze is good. Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily way. Well, they work.
You don't look like Sublight.
Well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories.
I could use a few in...
Now what can I... Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka. And I don't mean... Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is... Something else I... Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join. Bunch of marauders broke into the executive compound, slaughtered everyone. I thought everyone knew. But then that was 10 years ago. Still feels fresh to us every time we look. Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertisement. Nope. Something else.
Oh.
Well, we don't get many outsiders.
Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
Talk to Caleb. He speaks for all.
Caleb's doing the talking.
New face, huh? You from Offworld? A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell and revel with us?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough.
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. Well, as long as we don't. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't... Our supervisor, Velma, goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refused... We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch. We're free from the board, you know? I wouldn't doubt it. You look like the type who tends to come out on top. Not like us, Cogs. It's been days, but Velma won't even hear us out. You would do that? We sure are lucky you decided to come up to the patio. Sure thing. Not forever, but we've each saved up our bits, and I stashed them safe in my home by the diner. I reckon we could last a week or two. If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me nowhere. The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. We got no proof they're true. I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, so far it's just gossip, you know? But if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the Saltuna warehouse.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
We don't get many outsiders. Got it?
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
Fresh blood at last. Stellar Bay can use some.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Well, new bit. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? What a charming notion. One doesn't meet many free spirits in Alcyon. Forgive me, I'd be positively enraptured. Only, I take it this means you... Oh, a shame. I'd been saving a...
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but... Surviving alone is, thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from... Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such a...
Exactly what I would have said if I'd been paid.
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? It makes a rather pretty slogan. But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine.
Indeed. Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan.
On our turn.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar?
That's precisely what I'm trying to do.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, the plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach. And the first part... With a Bolt 52 if you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and...
And you'll have a powerful app.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon.
Never realized fighting the bureaucracy.
It is... In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. These days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Saying... That's just what it's called. It's supposed to stand for something, but... Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the... And... It's excellent. What else can I do? Then it's good that I keep... I've asked myself the same thing many times. Especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own... Not intentionally. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. As you may have noticed, this planet has more... And as the other corporations began to tally... Our leadership at the time, certain... But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions. It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even...
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means.
Like that's what you saw in Edgewater? Come on.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble... Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet, creating the perfect environment for us to enact. No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2. Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge.
Must have pissed off some real big suits.
On the contrary, I wrote lots of very important reports on behalf of top MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to... Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint... I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed... I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but... Why wouldn't anyone? They own...
If you can't beat him, might as well join him.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community. And being cut off means slow strangulation. I'm not a man to put pride. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunity. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more...
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Yes. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that...
But wait, what happens to the folks stuck on the wrong side of dangerous?
Well, I'm afraid the welfare of a few hundred people is too minor a figure into the board's risk assessments. Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board... A chance! They've been doing this for years. And well, it isn't just that they drain our people. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all. He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrol.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
What can I do for you? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. You'd head south along the road and look for a mountain to the west. But if you insist on going, I'd
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the What can
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid tea. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish.
He's sort of the Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff. I couldn't. Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know. Plus, he's got great legs.
Good to have standards.
I know what I'm looking for. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. You think that's... Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't... Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body... You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I still don't know anything about it. But if you want to help him, they'll... But I'll warn you. Grim... Oh.
If you leave town, watch out for iconoclasts. They're almost as bad.
I hope your being here means... the board is loosening their restrictions.
Wrapped musk and canid eyes, right here.
Please, I need your help. I can pay. Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going...
It's more to solve.
That is... Don't you tell me to calm down. He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders that toxic...
Oh, law, Captain. A youngster won't laugh.
Please. He's been pining for an adventure. Says he's tired of... I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. He should have listened to his mama. He's been listening to those awful broadcasts at the icon. And now I just know my boys run off to Amber Heights. That is, if a... Those low-life degenerates, leading innocent boys into a life of danger. Oh, they make it... How noble is it to worry your loved ones? Not at all, I say. But still, if they weren't holed up in Amber... That old settlement, southwest of Stellar Bay. I don't know which is worse, or that he never made it. Sprats could be nesting in his rotting body along... Or maybe marauders got him, pulled all his teeth out, crushed him into their drugs and made him... Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be sick. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouth.
Well, well. The only new folk I ever see in town are sublight runners from Fallbrook. But you don't look like one of Catherine's. What can I get you? If you don't see it, I don't got it. Don't go out.
Someone's been killed! I think I'm gonna be sick. No! I just stepped in a dead man's blood. If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. Now, if you'll excuse...
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance. Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
Good day to you. Good day to you.
Whoa, by the stars, my poor heart. Most people... Besides, this... Where should I begin? With the oversized mantisaurs? The board was right. This place... Sanjar, of course. He had all these glorious ideas about how he'd run Monarch. Rest periods between every work shift. It all sounds wonderful, until you realize it's only a few centimeters of repurposed steel between...
That's what she...
There's truly no end to my suffering. Only every day. But and even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with Sublight, which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or... Nothing. That's what. Because MSI is not in what you'd call good standing with... Even talking about it as my... I see...
They can't keep us out.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
look like sublight. Must be freelance.